Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of modern music's most powerful and often invisible tools. For a long time, it was a secret weapon just for the pros. But we're about to see how anyone can start using it and get this right from their phone. So here's a weird question for you. It kind of sounds like the setup to a joke, right? On one hand, you've got a global superstar on the world's biggest stage, and on the other, a high school band room. But believe it or not, they share a crucial piece of technology. And that secret weapon is the backing track. Yep, that's the common thread that connects the biggest stages in the world to the most everyday practice spaces. And believe me, that is not an exaggeration. Backing tracks are literally everywhere. They're the backbone of what we hear on the radio, in giant stadiums, and on our favorite records. They're the tool that lets artists create these huge, rich, layered soundscapes, no matter where they are. So who is actually using them? Well, the short answer is pretty much everyone. From professional musicians trying to fill out their live sound, to music teachers giving their students a full band to practice with. In the studio? Oh yeah, they're absolutely essential. And as we're about to see, the biggest artists on the planet depend on them. Just think about it for a second. That massive sound of a Coldplay show with all those cool electronic layers. Or how about Beyoncé delivering a flawless vocal performance while doing insane choreography? Or those classic atmospheric synths in a U2 song. All of them, they all use backing tracks to perfectly replicate their complex studio sound when they're live on stage. But for the longest time, making these professional-sounding tracks has been, well, let's just say it's been complicated. It required a ton of specialized knowledge and some seriously intimidating software. Let's take a look at how that old traditional process actually works. So it all starts with this thing called a MIDI file. Now, a MIDI file isn't audio. Think of it more like a blueprint for a song. It's just the raw data, which notes to play, when to play them, how loud. And that's the key because it means every single part of it can be changed and totally customized. So this is the old way. First, you've got to go find that MIDI file online. Then you load it into a super complex program called a digital audio workstation, or a DAW. From there, you have to assign all the virtual instruments, then you have to mix and arrange everything, and finally, you export it as an audio file. I mean, it's powerful for sure, but for most people, it's a huge barrier. Okay, now just look at this. Forget all those complicated knobs and menus we were just talking about. This shows a whole new way of doing things. What if you could just see all the parts, laid out visually, and just tap them to change them? And this brings us to a huge breakthrough, something that really democratizes this whole process. It's the idea of putting all of that power, an entire virtual studio, right onto the device you carry with you everywhere you go, your phone. I mean, the comparison here is just night and day, right? On the left, you've got the old way, complex, a super steep learning curve. On the right, the new way is visual, it's intuitive. You go from needing expensive computer software to an app that lets you get started in literally minutes, all on your phone. And here's the secret sauce that makes it all work so well on a phone. It's this waterfall view. The notes fall down vertically, kind of like an old player piano roll, which is just a perfect fit for a vertical phone screen. It's such a simple design choice, but it makes the whole thing feel incredibly natural on your phone. So how does it actually work? Let's walk through the exact steps, and I'll show you just how ridiculously simple it is to create your own custom track. And remember, the real game changer here, the magic of it all, is that this entire creative process happens right in the palm of your hand. You're not chained to a desktop computer anymore. Okay, here's how easy it is. First, you just get this song ready. Find a MIDI file online. That's step one. Then, you download it and load it right into the app. Easy enough? Next comes the really fun part, making it your own. You can pick how you want to see the tracks, you can listen to any part by itself, and then you can change instruments or just delete the parts you don't even want. And finally, you just save your finished track. The whole thing is just a few simple taps on your phone. Now, just because it's simple doesn't mean it's not powerful. You have total creative control here. You can pick from 127 different instruments. And here's a great pro tip. If an instrument, say an acoustic guitar, sounds a little bit fake, that uncanny valley thing, just swap it out for a cool synth sound instead. And remember, especially if you're playing live, sometimes deleting parts and just keeping it simple actually makes for a much bigger, more powerful sound. So, for years, this has been a tool for the pros, something that required complex gear and a lot of know-how. But now, that barrier is just gone. The tool is simple, it's accessible, and it's right there on your phone. The only question left is, what are you going to create with it?